where we are. We have seen this misconception about testing also, then principles of software testing, test policy, test strategy, test plan, that we have also seen. Okay. Yesterday we left with this point. What is the difference between verification and validation? Let us see what exactly it is. Most of the time we use the word verification and validation, validation in software testing. A very minor, a thin line goes in between these two words. What is verification? It is a static practice of verifying documents, design, code and program. What is verification? It is a static practice. Static means everything, each and every point is get checked as per the checklist. So that's why word static is used. Means whatever given on the checklist, it is get checked in verification process. It may be documents, design, code and program. What is validation? It is dynamic mechanism of validating and testing the actual product. Verification is a static practice, whereas validation is a dynamic mechanism. Means what? If suppose if we have created a calculator which is showing the addition of two numbers, in that case we just put input 2 and 3 and finally we check whether if it gives 5, then it means that calculator is validated with the values. So it is a dynamic mechanism. There is no checklist through which any product have to go. Just it checks whatever input given, is it working with a proper output or not. Okay, well it is a validation. If it gives 6, it means what? It means there is a verification, yes it's working, but it is not validated. बरोबर? म्हणजे 6 आन्सर आलं 2 + 3 चं, तर it is verified कि program is working, but it is not validated. It is not valid na. The answer should be 3 + 2 or 2 + 3 should be 5, but it is showing 6. So validation is required in that point. Number second, for the verification, it does not involve executing the code. It does not involve executing the code. It always involves executing the code. Same thing. Why the 6 output comes over here? If we are giving the input to the system or to the program, to the software, and if it's showing a different output, it means in this case we have to check, we have to see the execution of the code. Here there is no need to involve in execution of code. Third point regarding what is verification and validation. It is human based checking of documents and files. Verification is human based checking, keep in mind. Then validation, it is computer based execution of program. Means when we say it particular program is validated, when the execution of the code is proper, then we can say it is validated. So it is computer based execution of program. Next difference is that verification is saying that it uses methods like inspections, reviews, walkthrough and desk checking. Right? Keep in mind all these things, very best things which are related with verification, validation. The inspection, reviews, walkthrough and desk checking are the methods of verification. Whereas in validation, black box testing, grey box testing, white box testings are the methods to check or to validate the things, validate the program, validate the software. How we validate any program or software? By using the methods black box testing, grey box testing and white box testing. Alright? Okay. Next point, which is telling the difference between again what is verification and validation. It is to check whether software conforms to specification. It is to check whether software conforms to specification. What exactly it means? The specification is telling that we have to make a software like that. It shows, for example, the multiplication of two numbers. If the requirement or specification is telling like that, if specification is telling that, make a software which gives the multiplication of two numbers, and if my program is giving the output the multiplication of two number, then it means what? Okay, it's okay software. But validation is telling that it is to check whether software meets the customer expectations and requirements. Customer expectations and requirements are the important factor in validation. Means suppose if we put input 3 into 3 and if it gives 10, it is verified software because it is showing output. Something we have given to machine as input and it is giving something as output. But it is not the customer expectations and requirements. It is not up to customer expectations and requirement. It should show result 9. So it is not validated. So this point is important regarding the difference between verification and validation. The next point which we have to consider, what we have to consider, it is a low level exercise. It is low level exercise. Why it is low level? Because through this we can understand. It uses the methods like inspection, review, walkthrough decks, and there is a human interference is there, and it only confirms the specification. So it automatically tells that it is a low level exercise. Means if we fail to verify the things, it doesn't create anything a big loss. But if we don't care about validation, then it creates a big loss. So we can consider as high level exercise. It is high level exercise. I am repeating it again. Verification is a low level exercise, whereas validation is high level exercise. Then next thing, it is done by QA team. It is done by QA team. What is QA? If I ask to you, what is QA? Is anybody from their side? Can you tell me QA means what? Is anybody over here? Can you tell me what is QA? Okay, no problem. It's a quality assurance team. Quality assurance team checks the verification, but whereas validation is carried out by the testing team. By the testing team. Then the last difference between verification and validation, it generally comes first done before validation. Means when the verification get completed before the validation. It generally follows after verification. Validation is the next step of verification. Next step of verification. Have you understand the difference? Here is the 1 minute to you. Observe that, repeat it in your mind, so all the points will store in your mind forever. take your 1 minute. Okay, next. Here is the graph of x and y axis is shown over here, and this graph is drawn for testing process and number of defects found in testing. Testing process and number of defects found in testing. What is this? This is x axis. X axis having the value, which value? Number of defects. Means when we move towards this side, it means there is increase in number of defects. There is increase in number of defects. When we put the values, then you will understand. This is telling that increase in number of defects. And when we move from this 0th location to upward direction of y axis, it is telling that probability of detecting more effects. It is probability of detecting more defects. X axis is telling that. And by putting the values of,
excuse me, sir.
Yes, who is there?
So your screen is not visible. This you have shared.
And you have not told to me why. Sorry. Okay, this was the screen, and you have not told to me. This is the verification and validation. Okay, no matter. The next. You all. Okay, Janardhan Shinde had joined. No problem. Where we are? See the graph which starts from the origin 0, and the graph is like this. This graph is nothing but the table which we have the values for number of defects and probability detecting more defects. When we put the values or the numbers or the figures of these 2 points, then we get the graph like this. Initially, though the number of defects are less, but the probability of detecting more defects is high. Right? Number of defects less, but probability of detecting more defects. As the number of defects increases, as the number of defects increases, see the graph growth. See the graph growth. Means what? It is growing in the direction of x axis. X axis is showing number of defects, and when this graph or when this line is reached to this level, then there is no drastic change occurs for probability of detecting more defects, though the number of defects we have. This is the graph, keep in mind where we are. Okay. Test team efficiency. It is very important aspect for development team and management. If test team is very efficient in finding defect, less iterations of testing are required. Means what? if the batsman having the guts to stay on the crease for a long time, then there is no need to come for next batsman. All right, he will look after all the things. The same thing. If the development team is less efficient in fixing defects, more iterations of testing and defect fixing may be required. Okay. The ratio means what? This thing is telling that initially number of defects, if they are 10, then the probability of detecting more effects is very high. When it is possible, in the beginning of the testing, we have to reach to a peak to detecting the defects. After that, see the direction of the line. Through this, we can imagine that after that it will either go in downward direction or it will move towards in straight direction. After this point, there is no growth in probability of detecting more defects, right? And when it will possible, when if the test team is very efficient, then it is possible. The ratio of in bracket y minus z bracket complete slash x is equal to team efficiency, where x is equal to defects deliberately introduced by development, total defects found by testing team y, z defects found by testing team but not belonging to defects deliberately introduced by development. With this ratio, the test team efficiencies get calculated, and which value we have to put? This value we have to put, and we will get the test team efficiency. Keep in mind. Then mutation testing. First of all, we have to understand mutation. In the COVID's world, most probably there is a chance you have heard the word mutant, mutation. Is anyone who can tell me what is mutation? Okay. म्युटेशन अर्थात बदल. म्युटेशन याचा अर्थ परिवर्तन. आपण ज्यावेळेस म्हणतो ना बाबा की आता डेल्टा व्हेरिएंट आलाय, ग्रीक मध्ये डेल्टा हे जे परिमाण आहे, हे जे सिम्बॉल आहे, हे वापरतात तुमचा रेट ऑफ चेंजच्या संदर्भात वापरलं जातं. डेल्टा हा जो सिम्बॉल आहे ना, हा सिम्बॉल मी तुम्हाला माहिती सांगतोय बरं का, ध्यानात घ्या. डेल्टा हा सिम्बॉल आपण dy बाय dx, तिथे डेल्टाच म्हणतो ना, डेल्टा y बाय dx, हे काय करतं? तुमचं रेट ऑफ चेंज फाइंड करतं ॲट पर्टिक्युलर इन्स्टंट. म्हणून त्याला सायंटिस्टनी डेल्टा नाव दिलं, कारण इट इज द व्हॅरियंट इज चेंजिंग इट्स ओरिजिनल फॉर्म time to time. So that's why called as it is a mutant. All right. So mutation means what? Change. It is a conversion from one to another. And over here the concept comes in our testing, mutation testing. What is that? Mutation testing is a type of software testing where we mutate certain statements in the source code and check if the test cases are able to find the errors. It is type of white box testing which is mainly used for unit testing. Okay, have you understand? Very good. It is saying that means testers change some code and observes whether by changing a particular lines or particular variable If the program is able to find the error, then it means it is tested correctly. By this change is called as in the program mutation testing, and the change is done with actual code na. So it is one type of white box testing. It is white box testing. And how that test case efficiency is get calculated again with the ratio z minus y divided by x, where z is equal to defects deliberately introduced by development. म्हणजे त्याच्यामध्ये बळजबरीने टाकलेले घुसडवलेले डिफेक्ट्स आपण म्हणूया चेंज करणे, चेंज केलेला कोड. वाय म्हणजे काय? डिफेक्ट्स फाउंड बाय टेस्ट केसेस इन ओरिजिनल प्रोग्राम. वाय काय बाबा की ॲक्च्युअली कोड क्लिअर असताना आपल्याला सापडलेले डिफेक्ट्स. अँड व्हॉट इज झेड? डिफेक्ट्स फाउंड बाय टेस्ट केसेस इन म्युटंट. झेड म्हणजे काय बाबा की जेव्हा मी आता थोडासा बदल केलाय त्याच्यामध्ये कोडमध्ये, आणि त्या कोडमध्ये बदल केल्यानंतर जाणवलेले डिफेक्ट्स. बरोबर? हां, एक्स परत एकदा सांगतो, जाणीवपूर्वक केलेले चुका. वाय ओरिजिनल कोडमध्ये असलेल्या चुका. झेड ज्यावेळेस थोडासा कोडमध्ये बदल करून मग कोडमध्ये सापडलेल्या चुका म्हणजेच डिफेक्ट्स. अँड दिस रेशिओ इज नथिंग बट टेस्ट केस efficiency. Then what we have seen where we are. Test team efficiency, mutation testing, right? Where there is a need of mutation testing is required for what? Mutation testing is required for test case efficiency, to calculate test case efficiency. Then the next point, challenges in testing. Requirements are not clear, complete, consistent, measurable and testable. These are the challenges that we are seeing. Always requirements are not clear, complete, consistent, measurable and testable. So, and it becomes a very great challenge for the testing. Requirements are wrongly documented and interpreted by business analysts and system analysts. Sometimes this also becomes the cause for the challenge. Okay, code logic may be difficult to capture. Always the development phase is always difficult to understand, and to understand the logic of the code, it is a challenge for the tester also. Error handling may be difficult to capture. These are the some challenges in testing where we are. Okay, sorry. And one more point that we are going to see, that is a test team approach. How should be the approach of test team? First, location of the test team in an organization. Where should be the location? Right? Independent test team is the case. Over there at upper level there is senior management, and senior management keeps both development team as well as test team equivalent. Alright? Where in independent test team scenario. Then next, test team reporting to development manager. Okay, test team have to report to development manager, whereas development team also have to report development manager. Okay, these are the things which test team have to do, and which is ultimately telling that where actually location of test team. म्हणजे सांगणं कुणाला रिपोर्ट करायचं हे सांगणं, याचाच अर्थ आपली जागा कोणती आहे हे पण त्यातून दिसतं, लोकेशन. ओके, डेव्हलपर्स बिकमिंग टेस्टर्स, independent testing team, domain experts doing software testing. Okay, this is possible in any software industry. This is the next topic, process problems faced by testing. We will see it in our next lecture. What we have seen in our today's lecture, let's summarize the things, what we have seen. We have seen that the difference between verification and validation, right? कदाचित थोड्या वेळ हे एक्सप्लेनेशन चालू असताना स्क्रीन शेअर झाली नाही म्हणून आपल्याला प्रत्यक्ष दिसलं नाही, बट आय हॅव एक्सप्लेन्ड ईच अँड एव्हरीथिंग विथ द एक्झाम्पल, validation and verification. This is the actual graph plotting for the variables number of defects and probability of detecting more defects on x and y axis that we have seen. How it gets changes, that is you can easily observe over here. Then next thing that we have seen, test team efficiency. Test team efficiency is calculated with the formula or with the ratio of y minus z divided by x, and where each variable having its own values that you have to see. Then next, mutation testing. Mutation testing is required for what? For test case efficiency. Again it is a one ratio. Mutation testing is required for the test case efficiency generation. It is a one type of ratio. Then challenges in testing that we have seen, and lastly we have seen where the test team works. Test team works under senior management. Development team and test team is equivalent when they work. Then both team have to report to development manager, and what exactly they are in the organization. Developers becomes tester, independent testing team is there in the organization, and domain experts doing software testing. These are the things happens in any software organization regarding testing scenario. In the next lecture we will going to see process problem faced by testing. Okay, let's close. I'm going to close the meeting over here. You can leave the thing and see, if you want to interested see that video, you can see it on our YouTube channel. Thank you.
कॉम्प्युटरला होतं ना सागरने काय केलं त्याचं नाव असोसिएट कॉम्प्युटरला सोडवलं कशाला गाईड शिकला वगैरे त्याला नाही ना कॉम्प्युटरच आहे ना हां मी ते म्हणतो हां नाही ते चालते हां तेच खाली मी सरांकडे गेलो ना मिसळ सर म्हणजे सागरनं सांगितलं असं असं म्हणून मी म्हटलं नाही त्याचा नाही विषय पण ते वजा ठीक काय अडचण नाही त्यावेळेस नाही 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 त्यावेळेस काय होतं आय टीची जागा ओपनमध्ये असते नसते त्यावेळेस मग तसं हां ओके हे काय हे आता अकॅडमिक घेऊन डायरेक्ट असोसिएटला एंट्री मारणार ना नाही 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 ते नाही म्हणत कसं राहतं आता किती काही केलं तरी
खरं भाऊ
नाही आधी यावर शिकायचं ना ते ना असोसिएटला हां